provocative, for us and by us, celebrating our strength and our fire. Come hang out with us as we walk through our neighborhoods, even down our dark alleys, because just around the corner, there's laughter, misplaced miracles, unspeakable pain, and yes, forgiveness. It's all happening Sunday, November 17th, 4 p.m. at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood, 226 South Market Street. Last year, audiences raved. Best show in decades. An unforgettable night. Groundbreaking. Sweet Spot Live was thought-provoking and enlightening. Standing ovations begging for more. Please, more. It was a great night. So back by popular demand, it's Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis. Get your tickets right now at themiracleinglewood.com. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you in the sweet spot.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Have you heard the saying, hurt people hurt people? And you know what else is true? Hurt people often hurt the ones they love. As a pediatrician, I've seen children hurt in so many different ways by the adults who love and care for them. That's why I'm always talking to caregivers about ways to prevent childhood trauma. In my clinical practice, I screen for ACEs, or Adverse Childhood Experiences, and I provide trauma-sensitive care. I also joined an amazing group called Creating a Resilient Community Network in Central Florida to help prevent and heal our community of trauma. As a facilitator, I give workshops on ACEs, resilience, and healing. And I even dedicated a chapter in my new positive parenting book, High Five Discipline, to raising awareness about ACEs and to ensure the way parents discipline is not a source of trauma for their kids. Now, when I encounter children who experience trauma and explore their family dynamics, I often see generations of adversity. Like Brian and his little sister Sarah, at such a young age, they had already experienced their mother battling drug addiction, being in and out of foster care, and was now living with their maternal grandmother, who had her own share of past trauma. She strongly believed that what the kids needed when they were misbehaving was old school discipline. You know, spanking, yelling, and shaming. But nothing she did improved their behavior. Brian was in elementary school and already getting into fights, labeled hyperactive and disruptive in the classroom, and Grandma said he was a terror at home. In one particular incident, he almost set the house on fire. And Sarah,
Wait a minute.
she had
Wait. Pause that. How did they get my autobiography? That's like my story. What, in and out of foster care? Fighting? Big Mama said this boy is a terror. Whoa. Whoa. As I'm listening to this piece, and I'm going to go back to it because it's important. Society creates go-getters, right? See, society, puts go-getters on a pedestal, right? People get out there and go get it, right? But to be a go-getter, in many cases, we're not really good listeners. We're not very empathetic. It's dog eat dog. That's the world we live in. So to expect a go-getter or someone who is relationally ambitious, someone who is financially ambitious, right? They can't turn that spirit off. And if you're not playing the tune that they want to dance to, you really have no value to them. And I'm just listening to the type of society in which we live in, and watch how I tie it back to today's topic. Go ahead and finish the rest of that clip.
incident, he almost set the house on fire. And Sarah, she had global developmental delays and behavior problems as well. She was 5, but behaved more like a 2-year-old. Right before my eyes, she babbled, whined, and hit to communicate her frustrations. And Grandma just hit her back on the bottom, not making the connection that what Sarah truly needed was love, patience, and guidance. You see, Brian and Sarah's story
Pause it one
highlights
more time. I even had an ex tell me, your mama should have whooped you more. And just listening to the clip is all coming back. I'm triggered right now. I had an ex tell me, like, your mother should have whooped you more. What? And clearly that doesn't work. The clinician just explained what works. And the sad part is, as an adult, you go out into intimate relationships looking for what the clinician said you need. But not even the clinician will tell you what you need can be found within you. Play it one more time.
and passed down through generations. Hurt people, hurt people. So I would like to talk to you today about how the 3 R's, recognize, build resilience, and restore, can help break the cycle of generational trauma. So we can start by asking what happened to Brian and Sarah before they started acting out. So imagine with me just for a moment what had gone on in the midst of all of these traumatic experiences at a microscopic level. Well, their little bodies experienced prolonged, repeated trauma with very little nurturing and protective caregiving. And the science of childhood trauma tells us this created toxic stress, elevating the body.
Okay, I can't listen anymore. I'm about to break down. Because we can find empathy for their little bodies, right? The word she chose paints a beautiful and poignant and tragic picture, right? Their little bodies, but not his adult body. See, men who have gone through what is being described here, listen, let's keep it a buck, right? There is no empathy, sympathy, or care, or concern, or consideration for a man, right? Who has been broken. It's like, figure it out. You ain't got time to cry. You got to carry everybody. That's how we look at manhood, right? You ain't got time for what's wrong with you. The sisters have the sister circles. The sisters are lighting candles and setting intentions and wearing all white and going to the beach and can we be real? Where do the brothers go? They be in the cigar lounge with Zoe. Zoe, I need a little bit of your time. Brother, I don't normally share things like this and whatnot. But I've been told that you are one with a kind and patient ear. Brother, can I bend your lobe for a moment? I get the influx of that. But the reality of it is, brothers need brotherhood circles where we can facilitate growth and healing. This is important. Here's the definition. Intergenerational trauma is the passing of trauma from one generation to the next, right? It can also be called transgenerational or multi-generational trauma. You got personal trauma, such as abuse, neglect, and other adverse childhood experiences, which makes up the ACEs chart there. Then you have historical trauma, trauma that affects a specific cultural, racial, or ethnic group. And then you have natural trauma or natural disasters such as floods, earthquakes, or pandemics. Why is this important? Because we've been taken in this society. We have been taken by social media. And one of the most successful aspects of social media is the area called the IG model. That is now a profession. Did you know an IG model with enough followers, 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, can now get a modeling gig from the biggest and baddest modeling agencies in the world based on their numbers? And it's not just modeling. Social media has changed the music industry. Did you know if you have 4 or 5 million followers in your social media network, you could get a record deal with no talent? You don't have to sing, rap, dance. All you got to do is act crazy, and they put it to some music. They'll go, they're nominated for 12 Grammys. I'm being facetious but truthful. Social media has impacted us in such a profound way. So I thought about it today. We are all IG models. We model what comes from our childhood. We modeled our parents. We modeled our environment in childhood. We modeled intergenerational trauma. That makes us IG models, right? And tonight's topic, how do we break the mold, right? How do we break the model that was cast, right? A deeper look at anti-modeling, dissecting and dismantling transgenerational or intergenerational patterns in relationships and the discontinuation of broken cycles. The term anti-modeling has been coined by Steph Anya, LMFT, on her YouTube channel. Go check her out. In a recent video discussing the dynamics between two love is blind contestants, right? Love is Blind is probably her television show, right? Steph dissects how generational trauma, right, intergenerational trauma impacted her relationship and the ultimate choice to not marry at the conclusion of the show. So how does this concept of anti-modeling work in real life? Anti-modeling is the act of choosing not to model what you witnessed in childhood. It is similar to what psychology refers to as de-identification. De-identification is the process by which an individual learns how to identify themselves apart from their family structure, most notably found in sibling relationships. Establishing an identity independent of family origin is important for healthy relationships to flourish in adulthood, but also so that transgenerational patterns or intergenerational patterns can be dismantled. You're an IG model. Intergenerational trauma. You're an IG model. You modeled dysfunction in your home as a child. You were raised by somebody who was broken internally. Most of us have. You were raised by them. So what you were raised by molded you into what they were or weren't. One of my favorite lines from the Marvel universe, it's in the Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton version of it, when the general is saying, Banner didn't know what he was working on. He experimented on himself. And something either went really wrong or really right. Yeah. We go wrong when we don't seek to find out who we are independent of where we came from. That's where we go wrong. Your family's truth doesn't have to be your truth. Uh-oh. Woo, here we go. When I come forward, I've got questions and I've already got callers. Tell me if you're fighting with your familial narrative. You want to break up with them? Let me know. Call us 1-800-920-1580.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Before running for state senate, Laura Richardson was named one of the most corrupt members of Congress, guilty on 7 counts of ripping off taxpayers and a pattern of deception trying to cover it up. Richardson is too shady for state senate. For your state senator, frontline nurses, classroom teachers, and Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project support Democrat Michelle Chambers, a champion for abortion rights, higher wages for workers, and more affordable health care. Democrat Michelle Chambers for state senate.
Ad paid for by nurses and educators supporting Chambers for Senate 2024, sponsored by labor and nonprofit environmental and health organizations, Ad Committee's top funders, SEIU California State Council, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get it crunk up on that fun up in this dancery. We got y'all open, now you're floating, so you got to dance for me. Don't need no hateration, holleration in this dancery. Let's get it percolating while you're waiting, so just dance for me. Come on, everybody, get on up, 'cause you know we got to get it wrong. Mary J is in the spot tonight, and I'ma make you feel alright. Come on, baby, just party with me. Let loose and set your body free. Leave your situations at the door, so when you step inside, jump on the floor. Let's get it crunk up on that front up in this dancery. We got y'all open, now you're floating, so you got.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to this video on how childhood trauma impacts adult health and behavior. I'm your host, Dr. Donnelly Snipes. We've talked about trauma a lot in other videos, so I'm not going to do a deep dive here. But just to kind of sum it up, trauma can be intentional or unintentional. Intentional trauma is when somebody says, I'm going to hurt you in some way. Unintentional trauma can be when they do it and they don't mean to, or they aren't able to actually meet the child's needs, so the child feels insecure, unsafe, and disempowered. So trauma can include physical trauma, like physical pain or not getting their physical needs met. And that can be in the form of abuse or neglect. The caregiver who is too depressed to get up and go shopping and make dinner, or the caregiver who is too intoxicated to do those things. You know, that's more unintentional. They're not intending to hurt the child, but they can't get out of their own way in order to attend to the child. Emotional abuse is pretty self-explanatory, but then there's emotional neglect, and that happens when the child's emotional needs are not met. They are not provided tools to learn to identify, regulate, manage, and cope with the feelings that they have. We're not born with emotional intelligence. Cognitive trauma can happen as a result of gaslighting, or if the child is going through parental alienation, where they're constantly being told negative, scary things. Environmental trauma can happen when the child suddenly loses their home.
Listen, I know we use a lot of examples: narcissism, attachment wounds, spiritual examples. I know. I know sometimes it could be a little bit overwhelming. But what you need to realize is not everyone is a narcissist. Just like narcissism is on a spectrum, so is every other form of dysfunction. It's all on a spectrum. So, you know how you talk to certain people? That didn't happen to me. I didn't grow up like that. And woo-woo. Maybe you had a more subtle form of dysfunction that you grew up in. And this person's dysfunction was more pronounced, or maybe even more impactful. Maybe yours was less impactful. But I guarantee you, nobody was raised in a zero dysfunctional household. I guarantee it. Back to the work of Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti believed that it was psychological knowledge that was the problem with humanity. Says psychological knowledge, in other words, what happened to us, our story, who is the villain in the story. That is something many of us, most of us, can't get over. So you even see psychologists today telling you, hey, warning you about your story. Be careful of what you say or what role you cast yourself in. Negative self-talk, right? Right? This is big things here. Nazarene X pulled up the etymological root of the word trauma, the sense in psychology of a psychic wound. Krishnamurti, psychological knowledge is the issue. You can't get over hurts. Listen, human beings are, and our brain and our central nervous, it's an association-making machine. If we associate toxicity, regardless of the intensity of it, if we associate that as our normal, this is our norm. This is what's normal to me. So psychological abuse, pattern of bullying in the crib, gaslighting in the crib, toxic communication in the crib, criticism, sarcasm, insults, manipulative tactics, right? Walking on eggshells. If you got used to any of this, you're taking it to your intimate relationships, controlling behavior, lack of trust, right? Isolation. Right? And of course we get caught up on the terms, but I'm telling you, all of this stuff is on a spectrum. So while it is on a spectrum, guess what? Some of it seeped into your soul, and it needs to come to the surface for proper management. I know people want to say reconciliation, but proper management. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. What did you model? What did you pattern? You're an IG model, an intergenerational model. Let's go!
Go ahead and rock your eyes, cause we're celebrating no more drama in our lives. With the great track pumping, everybody's jumping. Go ahead and twist your back and get your body bumping. I told you leave your situations at the door, so grab somebody and get your ass on the dance floor. Let's get it crunk on that fun up in this dancery. Got y'all open, now you're floating, so you got to dance for me. Don't need no hateration.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Citing his fear for politics, 50 Cent is saying he turned down a multi-million-dollar deal to perform at Donald Trump's recent campaign rally in New York's Madison Square Garden. In a conversation with The Breakfast Club earlier this week, the rapper said he rejected $3 million to make an appearance at Sunday's event because he doesn't want to get involved. Sources close to the Harris-Walz campaign say the vice president will stay close to D.C. on election night and hold an event on the Howard University campus next Tuesday. Closing arguments are underway in the trial involving the police raid that took the life of Breonna Taylor. Former Louisville Metro Police Detective Brett Hankinson is accused of violating Taylor's civil rights when he shot into her apartment back in 2020. And jaywalking will soon be legal in New York City for the first time in more than 60 years. Jaywalking, or crossing the street outside of a designated crosswalk, was banned in the city in 1958, but it's been enforced unevenly, with police often targeting Black and Latino New Yorkers. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
This is Jasmine Canick, and I want to talk to you about one of the most important elections facing our community. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon is running for re-election, and he deserves our vote. In the 4 years he's been in office, he's put safety and fairness first, but also stood up against racism and injustice. He's exonerated over a dozen Black and Latino men wrongfully incarcerated for crimes they did not commit. And that's what we put him in office to do. Join Supervisor Holly Mitchell, Congressmember Sidney Kamlager Dove, and vote to re-elect George Gascon for DA on or by Tuesday, November 5th. Paid for by George Gascon for LA District Attorney 2024.
Hey LA, be an eco-friendly hero. Join LADWP's Power Savers program and use your smart thermostat to help ease strain on the electric grid during peak electric demand. You'll save electricity while you lower your bill. Plus, as a power saver, you can get up to $185 in prepaid gift cards. Don't have a smart thermostat? No problem. Shop and sign up at ladwp.com/Power Savers program. That's ladwp.com/Power Savers program. To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Before running for state senate, Laura Richardson was named one of the most corrupt members of Congress, guilty on 7 counts of ripping off taxpayers and a pattern of deception trying to cover it up. Richardson is too shady for state senate. For your state senator, frontline nurses, classroom teachers, and Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project support Democrat Michelle Chambers, a champion for abortion rights, higher wages for workers, and more affordable health care. Democrat Michelle Chambers for state senate.
Ad paid for by nurses and educators supporting Chambers for Senate 2024, sponsored by labor and nonprofit environmental and health organizations. Ad committee's top funders, SEIU California State Council, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
strong. And still today, we're one big family. 2300 Jackson Street.
Sometimes the person who is sabotaging your happiness in relationships is not your ex, not your parents, not the people out there who put you down. Sometimes the person sabotaging you is you. And the problem with growing up with neglect and abuse is that it can drive your thinking. It can constrict what you believe is possible for your life. And it can make you see only the worst, only what is ugly. Now, these are what I call trauma-driven beliefs. And you might be holding on to them because you think that they'll protect you. But what they really do is keep you isolated. They lead you away from the good choices and the positive changes and the healthy people who are capable of love. These are the ones you need in your life, right? If you're ever going to overcome what happened to you in the past. Now, it's true that the part of us that's designed to detect good people and to feel love and receive love can get so damaged by early trauma. And the more trauma happens, the greater the risk that we'll get kind of stuck in the pattern, falling only for unavailable people or for people who hurt us, or getting so lost in fantasy that we miss out on any kind of real fulfillment from dealing with real people. But the good news is, healing from past trauma has the potential to completely change the course of your life. And you might be really discouraged about that right now, and you just think, yeah, everybody says that, but how do you actually do that? But I'm here to give you real hope. There really are ways to start healing the wounds of the past, now that we know what their nature is. And if you aren't familiar with my work,
healing is really just non-judgmental acceptance. I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes. Accept everything that happened. Don't blame yourself. Don't condemn yourself for being a victim. Don't condemn or blame yourself for creating a coping mechanism that kept those wounds alive. Healing. See, people they will sell you a $10,000 webinar. I'm going to show you in 10 discrete, easy steps. No, it's non-judgmental acceptance. Right? And then guess what? You can add, unconditional forgiveness for yourself and others. See, and it sounds simple, but the work to live in a space where you're looking at what disgusts you about you. You're looking at these wounds. You're looking at, what modeled you, or what you modeled as normal. Let's do it that way. You're looking at that, and like, wow, I picked up some really cold stuff from my people. Right? How I was raised. Have you noticed? Isn't this why we're so hard on the mother that was unavailable? Isn't this why we'll condemn the father that wasn't available? Because part of us, that's easier to condemn than the part of them that we modeled. I done met so many people that act and move just like the person who hurt them. Ugh. What are some reasons we choose to model or reject what we know? What are some psychological and spiritual indicators that you have overcome a transgenerational pattern, i.e., ended a cycle? In what ways does anti-modeling challenge the traditional understanding of familial loyalty? And how can this be reconciled, right, with the need for personal? Listen, Joe Jackson, we just played 2300 Jackson Street. You know what Joe Jackson said about Michael Jackson accusing him of whooping him all the time? Well, I guess I must have whooped him all the way to the bank. Look at him. It's not funny, right? Listen, just because you're successful in the world, remember, the world in and of itself, the world in which we live, is toxic. The Buddhists called this world an illusion. Jesus backed it up, right? This is an illusion. And the Bible even tells you who runs this world. So many times we'll look at success in the world as if it is success in the spirit. Relationships are spiritual. Sex is spiritual. You're exchanging more than just fluids, you know. Right? It's all a spiritual act. Wounds, right? Psychic wounds. They're in your spirit. This happened to me when I was a child. You model it, it becomes your norm, and then it becomes the co-author of your relationship expectations. Y'all want to be real about it? What psychological mechanisms underpin the decision to either replicate or reject familial patterns in adult relationships? If you can't break up with your mama's beliefs, you're not going to be able to break up with this guy. Why? Wait, yes, I can. I could just easily leave him. We live in a culture, in the time, that says breaking up with somebody is an empowerment move. I leveled up when I left you. How you level up and you got the same kind of dude with the same lesson? Different dude. All you did was recast the role. His script is still the same. You still attracted to the script. See, you think because you can swap out actors, you can swap out scripts. That's what a pattern is, baby. It's a script. You got a dysfunctional script running in your spirit, and it don't matter how many actors you swap in and swap out. Listen, when I come forward, I'm going to talk to Attila. Oh, Lord. I'm going to talk to Attila. When we come forward, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get it.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
This is Assemblymember Tina McKenna reminding you to vote for my girl, Sade Alawari, for State Assembly. Sade is a part of our community, and she's the partner I need in Sacramento to help fight for economic justice, affordable housing, health care, and so much more. Sade is just like us. She comes out of our community, and she spent years working in our community, bringing people together. That's why she's endorsed by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, teachers, firefighters, and Planned Parenthood advocates. This is Tina McKenna, and I need you to make a plan to vote, and to vote by Tuesday, November the 5th, for Sade Alawari for State Assembly.
Ad paid for by Opportunity PAC, a coalition of teachers, nurses, faculty members, school employees, and public and private labor, healthcare, and environmental organizations. Ad committee's top funders, California Teachers Association, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You can even just... With impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy Silverado, the first ever Silverado EV, Colorado and Tahoe have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. 0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together. We're polishing up.
We're talking about generations of trauma with no intervention. Based on what I know about sugar plantations, tobacco, and the Caribbean, what I know about American chattel slavery and the plantations there, does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves? Anybody remember sending in the therapist after I sold off your son, daughter, raped folks? At any point? Never. Second question. After slavery was officially over, now you're free. Anybody remember any therapy then? We know it's been rough, it's been deep for you, it's been difficult. We're going to do a little group therapy. We're talking.
Man, that's Dr. Joy DeGruy. Dorsey High alum. Don't listen. And I know, slavery is 150 years ago. Trauma, etymologically speaking, is wound. Psychic wound. There's something in your psyche. You have a wounded psyche. You can't have it both ways. We're going to talk about attachment theory. John Bowlby out of the UK. We're going to talk about Mary Ainsworth and attachment theory and the evolution of the different insecure attachment styles. We're going to talk about everything coming from early childhood. But if your genes are traumatized, listen, slavery, black laws, terrorism from the KKK when it was created to keep the black vote away. Y'all remember that? Jim Crow, right? Discrimination, redlining, all that stuff created Joe Jackson. Yeah, Joe was abusive. Joe was this. He's old school. You know how we'll justify what Joe was. You hear it based on that clip earlier, right? We'll justify it, right? Well, Joe is old school, Yeah. But a lot of his discipline, where did it come from? Let's be honest. I came from a mama who might whoop you out of the frustrations of the world. I had a grandfather who whooped me out of the frustration that he carried psychically. So you understand? This isn't to condemn or say people were wrong for how they, listen, you get whatever tools you get at the time. But you are modeling this, man, woman, you're modeling this. You're carrying it into your adult relationships. These are the rules, they said, right? So if you're dealing with a group of people that were freed from slavery in 1863, few people didn't find out until a few years later, Juneteenth. Shout out to KBLA birthday. But if you're dealing with people that have all of that trauma sitting in their spirit, what do you think that the status of their relationships is going to be like? Doesn't it make sense when you say, oh, black men and women, we have a high divorce rate? Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? How does trauma bonding, as discussed by Patrick Carnes, influence the inclination to perpetuate or disrupt generational patterns? Your trauma look like my trauma. Your trauma is familiar. Your trauma is family. My trauma is family. Let's get together and have a baby. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here right now. Attila from Houston, Texas. It's your time to shine. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
That's a good topic, ain't it? Boy.
Yeah. This is your topic, Attila.
So I was reflecting on some things that I was like thinking about the chat, and I made a comment. It was when you were talking about families and, essentially the dysfunction that we inherit from them, right? And I was saying that the breakup is the de-identification.
That's right.
So, right? So it's the splitting away from the family system, from the toxic habits, from those things that are normalized to you. That is the de-identification. You are no longer identifying with what has been your norm, and you are deciding to take a different route. So the reason why that show Love is Blind was so pivotal to me, and watching that therapist kind of dissect it, was because she was talking about two black contestants on the show, and it shows the guy basically going through this process with his family. His father had taken him with him on his adventures to cheat on his mom. So you can imagine what that looked like when it comes time to him to now possibly propose to this woman. And he literally says in the show, she is the love of my life. She is my best friend.
Right.
He uses the same verbiage with his parents. So I just thought that was so interesting, because the way that we contextualize the love of my life, the better half, in a horrible dynamic is wild to me. And so I was just like, man, I gotta write a topic on this. Like, what is it like to reject the modeling that's been given to you? What does that look like? And how does that outpicture in your romantic relationships?
My God, you'd be free. So it's a different type of slavery you're outlining here. You're a slave to your norm. And if your norm is toxic, that is where you are most comfortable.
Toxicity, I'm going to take it a different way. We'll say frequencies. I'm trying to get away from this polarity of words, right, of norms. Frequencies are going to seek their own frequency, if you will. Water seeks its own level. So if someone's in a lower vibration, they're going to go around those who also have that same vibration. And so I think when we speak about people leaving dynamics and whether or not they're happy after the fact and none of that really matters. I think the question is, are they at peace with their vibration that they hold?
No, they're not at peace. It's a conflictual experience, as many of us know. We know it's not good for us spiritually, but it's all we know, and it makes sense to us, so we're okay sitting in it.
That part.
Do you see? So now you got to ask the question. If a portion of our generational curses came from massa, right, all the way up till today, are our unhealed wounds doing the bidding of massa?
Absolutely.
This is
I mean, I think when you're talking about shadow work, this is why, when we're talking about doing the healing portion, it's so important to come correct in our language. And like you said, to not judge prematurely, to have more of an objective view of ourselves and other people, for the simple fact that you can prematurely stunt your own growth by trying to meet a certain target, trying to meet a certain arrival point, and thinking that this person, this thing, this ideology, this place is going to give that to you, when all of that is internal. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Come on, Attila. Guess what you just did?
Hi, bro. Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. LA, where you at? Don't get down. The Dodgers still might pull it out. Where you at? The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. Let me tell you why I said your unhealed wounds serve as a type of slave master. Because guess what? The slave master was an authority. If you go back to history, in history, especially American history, there was a time where they had something called paternalism, where the white property owner, slave owner, and husband was the father of all that was his, even the slaves, right? He was the authority. But Krishnamurti has some pointed words against authority. If your unhealed wounds are the authority of your life, if your unhealed wounds dictate the patterns you walk in life, the patterns you repeat in life, if your unhealed wounds has a say in who you date next, you are under its authority. When I come forward, we got more callers because they have a lot to talk about.